Hola chicos, in this video, I'm going to just walk you through one of our assignments, Díselo it's called. It is in, it's right there, Díselo. It's in Descubre, it's under the cuaderno de práctica for estructura 2.1. And, this is one of our assignments. So we're gonna go through this and hopefully I can help you. This is a good practice with using object pronouns with our conjugations. So we'll work with accent marks and where we put our object pronouns when we have an affirmative command versus a negative command. So right here, we're given some information that we have to use to form a command. So we have Mario, that's whom we're talking to. And then we want him to bring you the digital camera that Gemma gave to him. So when we reword this, we're going to say, Mario, bring me the digital camera that Gemma gave to you. So when we do that, let's go ahead and start off with Mario. We're talking to him. In our conjugation, I should have given you a chance to think about it, but traer is our conjugation. You should, when you have an affirmative command in the to form, in the informal conjugation, if it's an affirmative command, you should be thinking, is it a Vin Diesel word first? Does it go with ben, di, sal, as, ten, be, pon, or se? This one does not. So then we just go to our third person singular conjugation of traer. Yo form is traigo, tu form traes, and the third person singular is trae. This is actually two syllables, tra and e. So this syllable is our second to last syllable. There's no need for an accent mark because you're supposed to have the stress syllable on these conjugations on the second to last syllable. So good. Now, where we have a problem is we need to use that indirect object may with this because we're saying bring me. So in order to do that, we have to have may in this conjugation somewhere. And it's an affirmative command, which means may actually has to go right there. There's no other option. We can't put it before it. It has to go right there attached to this conjugation. And now our last syllable is right here, the may. Our second to last syllable is the a, that e right there, the English e. And then our third from last syllable is that tra. So this, I already said, this was the stressed syllable. We want to keep that stress. We want to maintain that, which that'll always maintain where the stress syllable is, which means we need to write an accent mark on that A just to show the reader that this is the stressed syllable. And it breaks our rule. Since it breaks our rule of it being this, it's not the second to last syllable. If it doesn't follow that rule, we note that with an accent mark. So trae, T-R-A, stress syllable, trae. When I add another syllable, it's still in that same spot, trae me. This is that's third from last syllable is stress, so we put the accent mark on that third from last syllable. And then la cámara digital. Okay, and now we're saying bring me the digital camera that Gemma gave you. So we're going to use te regalo Gemma. All right, next up. Actually, no, let me do a negative command real quick. This is bring me the digital camera, but if this were actually don't bring it to me or don't bring me the camera, the may would have to go in a different spot and we'd have a different conjugation. So let's start off with, well, we got no, and then our verb would be, it is now a negative command. So our negative command rule is go to the yo form, which is traigo for traer, traigo. You drop the O of the ending, and then you add the opposite ending, which is for an ER verb is the A, that vowel, A, and then always with an S at the end, no traigas, we don't bring. But we're not going to bring it to me, so we have to have me here. Now we put it at the end of trae, right here, we put it right there. But for this one, for an affirmative command, it's attached, but for a negative command, it has to go before it. And again, these are rigid rules. These must be followed. There's not options. Sometimes we have options with our object pronoun placement. That is not the case with commands. All right, so this was just an extra little thing to show you. It's not something that you have to do. It's not part of the assignment. Next up, we're going to talk to Natalia now. Now, Natalia, We are going to say, we're going to tell her, write a message to your sister, write a text message to your sister. So she's going to send it to her sister. So we're going to use that indirect object pronoun le. So this is still an affirmative command. So is it a Vin Diesel word? No, it is not. So let's just follow our rules. And it's going to be Escribe, just that normal third person singular form. Now, this has 3 syllables, escribe. The second to last syllable is, the vowel is the I, the second to last syllable. That's the stressed vowel. That's the stressed syllable, escribe, escribe. It goes up in that second syllable and the second to last syllable. And there's no need for an accent mark because that's the rule. Now she's going to write to her sister, to her. We need to put that le, and we have to attach it to the command. And so now we've got our last syllable, our second to last syllable, and now that I is our third from last syllable, which means we need an accent mark. I know it's not easy to see here, but there is an accent mark on that I right there. There's an accent mark there. Okay, so escríbele, again, just to maintain the stress syllable, make sure the reader knows where the syllable is stressed. It's on the I, because that breaks the rule of it being, it's not the second to last, it's the third from last. So let's put an accent mark on it. All right. And then un mensaje de, lo siento, de texto a tu hermana. We're telling Natalia to send a message to her sister. When we're talking to her, send a message to your sister. And we'll be consistent. We'll use tu hermana because we can use the informal form with her since we're already using the informal conjugation escribe with it. All right, next up, we're going to go to, we're going to talk to Martin. And when we're talking to Martin, we'll address him. Martin, we're going to say, call them. I don't know who they are, but we're going to call them on the phone. And so we're talking to Martin. We're using the informal form. We're going to use the affirmative. We're going to tell him to do this, which is, it's not a Vin Diesel word. So just follow our rules. Llama. There's our conjugation. Now, here is the second to last syllable. This is the vowel that's stressed. Llama. It's the second to last syllable. That follows the rules. We're good. But we're going to call them. We're going to have Martin call them. Now we need to add los to our conjugation. And now this is the last syllable. This is the second to last syllable. And this is the third from last syllable. So our stressed syllable didn't move, but its relation to the end did. It changed. It was the second to last syllable, but now it's the third from last syllable, which means we need to write an accent mark. Llámalos. So we show the reader that this is the syllable that is stressed. Llámalos por teléfono celular. If this were negative, we would say no los llames, no los llames. We would put the los before the conjugated verb. All right, next up, we're going to talk to Gloria. We're going to say, Gloria, and we're saying, make the bed before you leave. So it's an affirmative command. We're telling her to make the bed. So is hacer, is that one of the Vin Diesel words? Is that ben, di, sal, as? Yes, it is. It's us. Us is one of the Vin Diesel words. It's from hacer. So haz la cama antes de salir. Antes de salir. Haz la cama antes de salir. If you were, we don't do this here, but if you were to say, make it before you leave, if we were saying like, your bed's is messed up, make it before you leave. Make it would be us is our command still. And then if I were replacing la cama with it, I would use the word la. Now, let me look right here. There's only one syllable here. So the stressed syllable is the only syllable there. That's the rule. So there's no need for an accent mark here. Now, when I add the la to it, look what happens. Last syllable, second to last syllable. That's where the syllable that's where the stressed syllable is supposed to be. So again, there's no need for an accent mark still. So a simpler way of thinking of it is if you ever have one of those one syllable any of the Vin Diesel words do this, any one syllable conjugation. So it's not only the Vin Diesel ones, there's some other ones, ver, dar, those are one syllable conjugations. If you add one object pronoun to those conjugations, you won't need an accent mark because that's the rule. So if you had, D, and you want to say D may, D doesn't have an accent mark, D may doesn't have an accent mark. It won't have another accent mark until you add another syllable. You have to have a third syllable. So just a little extra information. Well, let's make this negative here. Now this is different. So as is the informal form. It's irregular. If we're making it negative, it would be no, and we'll keep la cama at the end, so we won't have an object pronoun for now, but it is negative. So negative, we form that by going to the yo form of hacer, which is hago. You drop the O, and it's an ER verb, so we add the A and S. No hagas la cama. If for some reason we want to say don't make it, then the la would go here. No la hagas. But again, that's just something extra, nothing we have to do for the assignment. Okay, next up. Now we actually do have a negative command. We're going to talk to Carmen. So Carmen, we're going to say don't check the oil until next week. So don't do this. Now we have a negative command. We've been doing the negative commands as extra, but this one actually is the assignment. So this is not Vin Diesel. This is not a relevant thing. We don't need to worry about Vin Diesel stuff. That's only for affirmative commands. Negative commands, that's the yo form. Drop the O, add the opposite ending plus S. No revises el aceite. Now, I'll go ahead and finish this. La semana que viene. Now, if I want to say don't check it, referring to el aceite, we can replace el aceite with lo, because it's a masculine singular one. But that has to go right here before the conjugated verb. No lo revises. No lo revises, because negative commands, the object pronoun has to go before the conjugated verb. Affirmative ones attach it to the end of the affirmative command. So we have the object pronoun attached, like you can see it in right here, tráeme, escríbele, llámalos. We showed an example where you could have hazla, but if it's negative, no me traigas, no le escribas, no los llames, no la hagas, no lo revises. But if this were affirmative, then it would be revisa, would be our verb with an A at the end, or it would just be the third person singular form. Let me go ahead and write that. Revisa, and then we'd add lo would have to be attached to it. Plus, on top of that, I'll get rid of this for a sec. Revisa, right here, that syllable is stressed, the second to last syllable, revisa. Now, if I add the lo to it, it's now, the syllable is now the third to the end, the third from last syllable. So that I would need an accent mark. Again, not part of the assignment, just a little bit extra. All right, last one, Lilia. We're going to talk to her and we're going to say, we're going to have her to teach me to drive. So let's start off with our verb, just the verb alone, and it's enseñar. So enseñar, this is, it's an informal affirmative command. So first off, is it a Vin Diesel word? It is not. So just stick with enseña. Enseña. This has got 3 syllables to it. Enseña. This is the stress syllable, the second to last syllable. Now, Lilia is going to teach me to drive, which means we need the object pronoun may. We attach may to enseña because it's an affirmative command. That's what we do with object pronouns. Oops, that's not how you spell it. Nor is that. There we go. So enséñame a manejar. There's still one thing we're lacking. We need an accent mark. Here we've got may as our last syllable. That ña is the second to last syllable. But we already said this is the stressed syllable. So we are going to require an accent mark here because now the stressed syllable is the third from the end. So this is an affirmative command. If it were a negative command, no May would have to go before it, and we would go to the yo form, which is enseño, drop the O, it's an AR verb, so the ES ending, no me enseñes a manejar. But again, that's just extra. That's not what we're doing for this. So anyways, I just wanted to have a video to walk you through it in case you needed some extra help on how to use object pronouns with your informal commands.